I am an older new mom, and as a result, I got thrust into this world of babies kind of late in the game. So what ended up happening? I put $15,000 worth of items on my baby registry. Half the stuff I've never used. A quarter of it, it's okay. But there is a small percentage of that registry that I would consider must-haves for the first 4 months of life. So here is my comprehensive list of baby items that you'll need from months 0 to 4. This isn't a list for the budget conscious, nor is it a list for my bougie baddies. This is just something that I've put together to tell moms out there what's worked for me and my family. I am a working mom of a 6-month-old, so I've literally just been through it. I hope you guys enjoy. I divided this list into several categories, and each of these categories is not meant to be exhaustive of every single product that you'll actually use. It's really meant to provide more of a general guideline and my absolute must-haves for the category. So you might still need like onesies, for example, which I'm not going to mention in this video, but I will talk about swaddles. So let's just get started. In the first category, we're going to talk about playing. So babies from ages 0 to 4 months really don't do a lot. This was kind of shocking for me. I thought that we were going to take baby home and immediately start crawling and running around and doing cool stuff with her. And honestly, that's not really the vibe when you first take your newborn home. They sleep a lot, like 18, 19, 20 hours a day a lot, and their wake windows are really, really short. My baby's 6 months, so you can hear her in her very long wake window right now. But for the most part, your wake windows are going to be 15, 20 minutes tops. And so a lot of the time, they're just mostly staring at your face. Babies love faces, and they also really, really love contrast. So in this category, my one product recommendation would just be the Love Every Play Gym. Because babies love to see contrast, this is essentially a play gym that allows you to place them on the mat in a safe position where they're not going to be rolling because they're 0 to 4 months old. They can stare for 10, 15 minutes at a time at these little dots all around them. And the best part about this play gym is that it actually comes with a set of high contrast cards, mirrors, and face cards. So I never had to actually buy a set of those flashcards from another vendor. This is a great all-in-one product, and it's not crazy expensive. For around $100, you can create 10 to 15 minutes of time for yourself throughout the day. And trust me, when you have to run to the restroom or make yourself that cup of coffee, you'll be thanking yourself for getting this play gym. So let's jump into baby gear. A lot of parents aren't necessarily sure how they're going to be working with their kids, especially if this is your first child. And what I mean by working with is, are you going to leave your child at home when you run errands? Do you plan on having your child with you 24/7? And if you are the type of parent that thinks that your kid is going to be around with you, attached at your hip 24/7, I highly recommend getting a travel system like the Doona. The Doona is an all-in-one car seat and stroller that easily unfolds into a stroller from the car seat position and refolds into the car seat position from the stroller position. It makes getting in and out of the car for errands super, super simple. We actually just took a 3-week trip to Mexico, and the Doona was absolutely a rock star. Number one, people in Mexico were all shocked that my stroller turned into a car seat. So every time I got into an Uber, I got a little bit of a surprise and delight moment for the driver. And it was just a really fun experience. But it's really, really easy to install as a car seat with or without the base that it comes with. When you're at home, I do prefer to use it with the base simply because the car seat clicks into place. Whereas when you're out and about, you do have to maneuver the seatbelt around the car seat just a bit. So I highly, highly, highly recommend the Doona if you are an on-the-go family that thinks that your child is going to be with you all the time. A big drawback to the Doona, though, is that it's really only good for your child so long as they fit in the Doona. My baby is pretty long for her age, and she's starting to get her little meaty thighs. And as a result, she's starting to look a little bit squished in the Doona. So I do think that there are car seats that are much, much more comfortable for baby, especially on long car rides. So as a result, when we took our trip from Atlanta to Nashville and we knew that baby was going to be in the car for about 3.5 to 4 hours, I hustled to get her forever car seat, and that would be the Nuna Exec. Now the Nuna Exec is not for the faint of heart price wise. It's at about $750 at the time of filming this video, but it is a buy once and then you're done forever type of product. The car seat starts at infancy and can be used even as a booster seat once your child is out of the car seat. So this product is kind of the gift that keeps on giving as your child ages. The Nuna Exec is super sleek, has really beautiful features like the cup holders and a little kick footrest for when baby is facing forward, and it just feels super secure. It also is a luxe experience. Yeah, I know, Valley. It's also a luxe experience for baby because she's not stuffed into a car seat that's meant for little babies. So I love the Nuna Exec. But if you're just going to get the Nuna Exec or a similar car seat, remember that you will need a stroller. For us, that is the Bugaboo Donkey 5. You have to understand my context. I know that I'm going to have babies back to back to back. And so my plan is to get pregnant again fairly soon here. As a result, I know that I'm going to need a stroller that can accommodate 2 children. And the Bugaboo Donkey 5 is one of the few that allows for a side-by-side configuration when using the stroller. You can put a bassinet on one side and the regular seat on the other. Beyond that, the Bugaboo is such an amazing ride on the road. Whenever we're going through any type of nature or any unpaved path or any uneven terrain, this stroller is a champion. My child feels comfortable, she feels secure, her little wobbly cheeks aren't running around everywhere just like they do in the Duna, which has much more of a bumpy ride for her. So if you're looking for a great experience for your little one, a smooth and creamy drive, I highly, highly, highly recommend the Bugaboo. It's an excellent choice for large families and singles alike. Now the Bugaboo, again, not for the faint of heart. We bought our set for about $1,600, although I will say that I did get cash back using Rakuten for about $200, and I was able to get a Bloomingdale's gift card. So really shop around because you can turn this $1,600 stroller into a $1,000 stroller once you factor in all of the perks. Next, let's talk about cameras. I am such a camera person. I think we have a Ring in every single room of our house, to the point where I had to disclose it to our au pairs and nannies just to make sure that no one feels uncomfortable. We are sticklers on security, so having a camera that functions well was of the utmost importance to us. And that's why we went with the Nanit. The Nanit is a wonderful camera. It comes with a floor stand, and you can also buy it as a kit, which has a sort of a stand that can move around, like a travel stand is what they call it, but it's not really for travel. Now the Nanit is a really great option because it gives you the temperature of the room. It has a really intuitive app. And my favorite feature that I've never heard anyone talk about is that it actually connects with your Alexa. So when my baby is napping in her, let's say, Love Every Play gym or some other part of the house, I can set up the Nanit to watch her. And from another room in my house, I can just ask Alexa to show me the baby, and she will pull up the feed from the Nanit. Oh, it sounds like someone's taking nap time. We're ready for nap time. Now, the Nanit temperature, I'm not always 100% confident in, and so I do have like a million thermometers in my house, but it is really good to gauge whether baby's room is too warm or too cool without having to step into the nursery. The Nanit, I will say does not work in hotels. So if you're planning on using the Nanit as a travel camera, it is not the best to connect to hotel Wi-Fi. You will need some type of hotspot or other private network in order to use it abroad. Other than that, I think the Nanit is a phenomenal choice. It has really clear picture and has a bunch of features like tracking your baby's sleep through the app that are invaluable. The last thing I'll talk about is something I didn't really use with the Nanit, and that is the breathing band. There's a little band that comes with the Nanit kit that allows you to track the breathing movements through the night. I did not use this feature because it freaked me out. My daughter just breathes really shallowly, and so her chest doesn't rise and fall, perhaps the way another baby's might. And so my alarm would go off 2 or 3 times a night with this band because it would say that my daughter stopped breathing. As you can imagine, as a new mom, it was just anxiety inducing. Every single time she was totally okay. So I decided to not use that feature. But for many parents, that might be a really good alternative to buying an entirely separate product like the Owlet sock. Using the Nanit with the breathing band could be a really great option for some parents. And the last thing we'll talk about in baby gear is, of course, your carrier. If you're like me, you love to wear your baby. I really do make use of nannies, night nurses, and au pairs. And so when baby's with me, I really want to spend quality time with her. And that means having her close to me. So a carrier was something that was super important. I have tried them all, okay? I've tried the cloth ones, I've tried wraps, I've tried the Ergo Baby. Hands down for me, the carrier that takes the cake is the Wild Bird Aerial Carrier. This is not the most expensive carrier on the market, but I do find it to be the most versatile and convenient. It's made of a softer material than, let's say, Ergo Baby, and unlike Ergo Baby, it doesn't make you feel like you're wearing military gear. Yet, it's super adjustable, super easy to put on, and the baby loves being in it. She feels very safe, very secure. I do say that the Ergo Baby has its place. When my husband and I go on long hikes or to outdoor escapades where I want that feeling of having military gear on and protecting my baby, I do take the Ergo Baby, but most of the time the Wild Bird Carrier would be perfectly fine in those circumstances as well. So if you're going to go for one carrier, I highly, highly, highly recommend the Wild Bird Carrier. Hi, Chunk. I see your little teeth coming in. I see those teeth. All right, moving on to health and safety. This is a category that's going to be hyper personal and specific to you and your baby, but I will give you a few recommendations that I think all babies will benefit from. The first is the nose sucker. Let me tell you, I am not a mom who will ever be able to stomach the idea of sucking in my daughter's nose boogies through a nose straw. So that product just does not work for me. I know there are many mamas who love that Frida Baby nose sucker. I'm just not one of them. So electronic was the only way I was ever going to go. I have tried probably 3 or 4 electronic nose suckers, and the absolute best one is my Bear. This is not necessarily a branded product. I will link it in the description, but this is hands down the best nose sucker. At around $175 though, it will run you a pretty penny if you're like me and just can't stomach the idea of sucking out your child's boogers through a straw. The way that it works is you use the little nozzle and turn up the dial, and essentially it's kind of idiot proof. You can't put the nozzle too far up the nose because the tip is perfectly sized for newborns and infants. And the settings are actually age specific, so you're not suctioning too hard ever. Other nose suckers that I tried that were electronic just did absolutely nothing. I could not get them to work. They just didn't take anything out. My baby remained congested. So this is really the only product for me, and we use it 2 to 3 times a day. Another thing about this product is that it's super easy to clean. The entire nozzle comes apart, and so that makes it a breeze during cleanup. And trust me, you're gonna wanna clean that out. Congestion is a hot topic amongst parents. For me, the easiest way to prevent or lessen the negative effects of congestion is to use a saline spray. I am not super loyal to any one brand. I'll link a few that I've used personally. They're all pretty much the same, and they all work really, really well. My only tip here is to get baby started with a nasal spray early. That way they get used to it really, really fast. I started my daughter on it when she was only a few days old, and now she thinks it's a game every time I squirt saline up her nose, which makes it really easy because I don't have to worry about her moving her head all around trying to avoid the spray going up her nose. It makes it that much more effective. Another way to prevent congestion is by using a humidifier. We use the Levoit or Levoit humidifier, which is actually amazing because it has features that allow you to set a timer, that allow you to set the levels of the humidity that you want in your nursery, and it automatically turns on and off to achieve those levels. So you're not constantly pouring water in because it's running all night. Instead, I pour water in it about once a week and let it run consistently to make sure that the levels of humidity stay between 35 and 50% in my daughter's room. Now, its big brother is the Levoit air purifier. This is on constantly in my daughter's bedroom. Somebody told me, I don't know if this is true or not, we'll have to make another video later on, that if you keep your child's room pretty free of air pollution, then it's less likely that they'll develop allergies and other such problems later on. And so we love the fact that this air purifier also works with an app that allows it to turn on and off automatically and allows it to gauge the levels of air contaminants and turn itself on in order to remove them from your child's bedroom. I love both of these products and we'll link them below. The last thing we'll talk about has to do with butts. I am a mom who is frankly terrified of rectal thermometers. I am so scared that I'm gonna hurt my baby. So for me, having a rectal thermometer as my primary way of gauging my daughter's temperature was just not going to cut it. As a result, I got the Frida Baby 3-in-1 thermometer, which allows me to check using her tongue, using her underarms, or rectally. I love that thermometer because it gives me options and it allows me to verify between her sublingual check and her armpit check whether I need to go to a rectal check. So I love that thermometer. I highly, highly recommend it. It's not super expensive and it has served us well in this household. Another product I recommend is the Medicine Cabinet by Frida Baby. The product comes with 3 stackable trays that allow you to store all of your baby's medical necessities in those trays. So we keep all of our daughter's healthcare products completely separate and in her own area for ease of use. Let's talk feeding. Depending on where you are in your motherhood journey, this could be a great experience, or if you're anything like me, a traumatizing one. I tried so hard to breastfeed, and after about 10 weeks, unfortunately, my milk dried up. So I have done both the breastfeeding and bottle feeding and double feeding and triple feeding. It's a lot, mamas, I know. So the one recommendation I will give to breastfeeding moms is to use a hands-free portable pump. I really loved my Medela hands-free pump. It allowed me to do things like wash the bottles or walk around while pumping, and it had pretty good suction even compared to my non-portable pumps. I guess I won't give you just one, I'll give you 2 recommendations. The second recommendation I'll give to my breastfeeding mamas is to have a mini fridge in your nursery. I don't know if you can see it from here, but I still have mine even though we're not breastfeeding. This is such a game changer. If you're pumping in the middle of the night, the last thing that you want to do is walk all the way to the kitchen just to store your newly pumped breast milk. So having a separate fridge for your breast milk is so clutch for those moments. Another reason I like having the fridge in the nursery is that it keeps breast milk and formula milk, etc., separate from the rest of the home's food. So I don't have to worry about organizing it within our larger family's refrigerator. It's separate. I can track it really easily, and it's available when I need it the most. When baby is crying and when she needs it, I can just reach right into the fridge and feed her. So such a flex. All right, so for my babies who are formula fed, I highly, highly, highly recommend, in fact, this is probably the one product I recommend over all others ever, and that is the Advanced Formula Pro by Baby Brezza. This is basically a Keurig for bottles. If you're feeding your baby formula, you want this machine. It's incredible. With the touch of one button, I can make my daughter her meal in seconds while holding her in the dark. This machine is absolutely a game changer for formula feeding parents, and it creates a warm bottle with the number of ounces that you want consistently every single time. Another thing I really like about it is that because it's a machine, it's perfectly measuring out how much formula is supposed to go into the bottle. Whereas, as you know, with hand scooping and pouring, there's tons of user error that goes into that. So I know that I'm feeding my daughter a consistent diet of the exact number of calories and bottles and ounces that she's supposed to be eating every single day. I cannot recommend this machine enough. So what bottles are you putting underneath the nozzle of your Advanced Formula Pro? For us, that was really easy. It was Dr. Brown's. We tried maybe 30 different bottles, and some of them my daughter loved, some of them my daughter hated, some of them her doctor loved, her doctor hated, some of them our breastfeeding consultants loved and hated. And basically the only bottle that everyone could agree on was the Dr. Brown's anti-colic bottle. This bottle is absolutely incredible. Baby loves it. And what I love about it is that it prevents her from getting gas. It has a little filter in the middle that is super easy to clean, super easy to install, and can be used with every single feeding. And it just prevents her from getting gas or colic, hence the anti-colic name in the bottle. The one bottle I absolutely don't recommend and will absolutely de-influence you from buying are the Bubbaloo bottles. The Bubbaloo bottles are super irritating because you just can't finish a full bottle. They are made with silicone, and as a result, baby can't actually suck all of the liquid out. So out of a 4-ounce bottle, really baby can drink about 2 ounces comfortably. I just don't recommend. My last product recommendation in the feeding section is the Baby Brezza Bottle Cleaner. Whew, this is amazing. This machine can clean, sterilize, and dry your bottle in one cycle. It's such a game changer, especially if you don't have a nanny or an au pair to help you with the bottle washing throughout the day. This is amazing. You load it and press a couple of buttons and voila, you're done. You have fully dry bottles by the end of the cycle. The reason I like the Baby Brezza is that it has its own self-contained water tank. Why does that matter? Well, I'm a little bit OCD, and I know that our chef and our family members, they cook in our kitchen and they do things like rinse chicken in our sinks. And so I really don't like the idea of any of my baby's stuff touching the sink. So I'll definitely do another video on how we approach like hygiene in our household around the baby's products. But I really like the idea that the Baby Brezza has its own self-contained system and doesn't ever really need to be even near a sink. I like the flexibility that if I wanted to use it here in the nursery, I totally could, but usually it does stay in its own area of the kitchen so that I can easily dump out the water tank after each use. I love my Baby Brezza, but I do have a lot of friends with the Mom Cozy bottle washer. I just don't like it because the nozzle of that goes into your sink. And again, we just talked about the hygiene around a sink. So if you're the kind of mama who that doesn't bother her, that is totally fine. Again, I have lots of friends, including a friend of mine who's a pediatrician who loves it. I'm just not a big fan. All right, you're now prepped to feed your baby in the most efficient and easy way possible. Let's get down and dirty with diapering. Diapering is an art in and of itself. We went through so many diapers to figure out that we absolutely love the Coterie brand. The Coterie brand is great because it comes monthly in a subscription for a discounted price and what you would pay, let's say, at Whole Foods for a pack of diapers. And it truly is just the best diaper. We've tried inexpensive diapers, we've tried the most expensive diapers, and Coterie at about $90 a month is just absolutely our favorite brand. The reason I like it is that it wicks moisture away at an exceptional rate. Now that my daughter is a little bit older, I've seen this diaper in action. She typically goes to the restroom around 3 times at night before we actually get up to change her because she's sleeping through the night now. And so as a result, whenever I change her, I can feel how heavy the pamper is in the morning, but she's pretty dry overall. The part that actually interacts with her skin is fairly dry every single morning, and I love that. So I know that the Cradlewise diaper is really doing its job of ensuring that my daughter's butt doesn't remain moist. Another big thing about the Cradlewise diapers is that the wetness indicator works really, really well. I've tried other diaper brands where it just doesn't change colors if the baby is wet, and as a result, you're doing sniff tests, you're doing little checks, and it's just kind of not worth it. I'd rather just have an indicator that tells me when I need to change my daughter. So the Cradlewise diapers are definitely the way to go. Another big tip to prevent diaper rash is Desitin. Using Desitin after every single change is what we've done to ensure that our daughter does not get diaper rash. She's had one in her life and it freaked me out so much. I took her to the pediatrician who recommended we use Desitin after every single change, whether she exhibits signs of a diaper rash or not. It basically acts as a barrier between the wetness of her diaper and her skin and just absolutely does a phenomenal job of preventing diaper rash. So she has not had a diaper rash since she was 2 months old. So we're going on 4 months here of no diaper rashes, which is amazing. And I attribute that greatly to Desitin. So what are we using to put on the Desitin? A spatula, of course. I do not like the idea, again, of putting my fingers in my child's butt. It's just not fun to think about, and so I just don't do it. I use a spatula. To me, it just seems more hygienic. I'm able to easily wipe it off after each use, and I don't have to worry about whether my hands are clean enough to put them anywhere near my daughter's private parts. So for me, it's spatula all day long. It's an absolute must-have. One other tip about diapering is to size up. If you are at the cusp of 2 sizes, always size up. In fact, I try to size up even if my baby is in the top range of a size. So if the size is between 16 and 22 pounds, once my daughter is at around 19 pounds, I'm moving up in size. Typically, there is an overlap with sizes, and I try to make sure that we are at the lowest range for each size for my baby. Again, this is really to prevent diaper rash, make sure that my daughter's booty can breathe, and that her private area is very well protected. Let's jump into changing pads. For me, I really wanted a non-toxic option for the changing pad, and so we went with a Naturapedic changing pad. I did the 2-sided one instead of the 4-sided one simply because I wanted my baby to grow into it, and with the 4-sided one, I felt like she wouldn't fit into it as comfortably once she became much longer. I also bought the changing pad cover, and the way that I avoid like washing this cover every single day, because I just have one, is by putting a pee pad down. So I use the same pee pads that I use for my dogs for my daughter's changing pad, and I'm able to easily change the pee pad every time it gets a little bit soiled or if she pees mid-diaper change, and it just makes my life changing her super, super easy. It's also really great because you don't have to worry about the wash process or changing the cover out every time. It just makes diapering super, super simple and easy, and I'm all about simple and easy. One pro tip that I will give you is to pair your changing pad with some type of painting above it. My daughter is absolutely obsessed with her painting. We had it purchased from Saatchi Art. It's a one-of-a-kind, and when you think one-of-a-kind artwork, you might think that it's super, super expensive, but actually you can get an artwork for as low as $100 on Saatchi Art and as much as tens of thousands of dollars, depending on your personal affordability. So I highly recommend doing like a high contrast or colorful piece of artwork so that every time your baby's looking up during changing, she's looking at something fun. My daughter adores her painting. She's 6 months old, and it makes her smile every single time I lay her down on her changing pad. It's a no-brainer to have something there. When I first became a mom, I was shocked at how much the doctor wanted us to track, whether it was number ones, number twos, feedings, sleep times. Our doctor wanted us to track absolutely everything. So we used the Nara app to begin with. I will say that we got gifted the Tally, and I personally love the Tally. I just don't know that I would pay the price for it. The Tally essentially does all of your tracking with the click of a button. It's a physical device that every time you start an activity like feeding, you simply press the button and it automatically tracks it on the app. So let's take feeding or diapering. Every time I change her diaper, I can click 1 or 2 and it tracks whether she urinated or used the restroom. I love it for tracking, but the Nara is a perfectly free option as well. For wipes, there's only one wipe that everyone agrees on, and that is water wipes. You do not want chemicals on your baby's tush. Costco also makes an Kirkland version of water wipes, and so those are totally fine as well. But water wipes are the only things I will allow to touch my baby's bottom because it's the only thing that ensures that she's not going to break out into a rash from harsh chemicals on her skin. All right, I think we've exhausted the diapering category, and so let's move on. In the bathing category, there are only a few items that I absolutely adore. The first is the Angel Care baby bath seat. This thing is amazing. When we first tried to give our child a bath, it was a nightmare, and I have the entire nightmare on video. I got some sort of fancy contraption, and long story short, it didn't work as well as this. The Angel Care baby seat gets placed into a bathtub. I then paired that with some knee pads and shoulder pads so that I can lean over the tub and easily access her and change the water settings, bathe her, etc. And so I will link both of those products below. The real bath time star though is Tubby Todd's. My daughter has very sensitive skin, and when she was first born, she had a pretty bad case of cradle cap. Tubby Todd's is literally like a miracle solution for everything. It has a number of ingredients in it that are really, really good for baby's skin, but no fragrances. When my daughter was first born, we were gifted Honest Company products, and all of the synthetic fragrances would make her break out into different skin rashes and hives. And despite the name Honest Company, they have tons of synthetic fragrances in their products that just really aren't good for babies. So that's why we opted for Tubby Todd's. Now, Tubby Todd's is a premium product at around $72 for 2 little jars of the all-over ointment. It is not cheap. However, it is absolutely worth the price when you consider all of the benefits for baby skin. There are a number of different products in the Tubby Todd line, from a baby wash to shampoos, conditioners, cradle cap serums, all-over ointments, and lotions. We use them all. We love them. And you do get a discount if you subscribe and save on Amazon, if that's helpful. If you made it to the end of the video, you're probably ready for the last category, sleep. So for the sleep category, I have an amazing crib recommendation. After testing out and trying so many different crib options, we found one that really works well for our family and has helped our baby become an amazing sleeper, even at 2, 3, 4 months old. That is the Cradlewise. The Cradlewise is a crib, a mini crib actually, with a mesh layer around it so it doesn't have any bars that could, break baby's arm, for example. It also, like the Snoo, automatically bounces when it senses that baby is waking up. The Cradlewise has an incredible built-in camera that we use all the time. It also has a thermometer, just like your Nanit, and it has a built-in sound machine. So the sound and the motion are activated anytime baby stirs or opens her eyes. You can completely control all of the settings from a super easy to use and intuitive app, and it allows you to track how your baby is sleeping throughout the night. The Cradlewise was a no-brainer for our family. We absolutely love it. And unlike the snoo, it doesn't just last 6 months. So we're actually this week taking the Cradlewise out of bassinet mode and putting it into crib mode. And our daughter will be able to use her mini crib until she's a toddler. So it was expensive, but it's also something that she's going to be able to use until she gets her first real bed. So we love the Cradlewise. The customer support on it is also excellent. The first shipment that we got wasn't great, and they shipped us a new crib right away once we told them what problems we were having with the sensor of the first one that they sent. So even just dealing with problems will show you a lot about how a company operates, and they really stand behind their product. So I loved it. Another thing to note about the Cradlewise is that even though it's an expensive crib, they do provide discounts when you purchase it really far in advance. So if you're still in your first trimester and considering a crib, I highly recommend that if you're going to buy the Cradlewise, you buy it early, because you will save hundreds of dollars by purchasing it 6-7 months in advance versus waiting until the last minute and asking for that, for delivery right away. So Cradlewise is absolutely a product that I endorse, that we love, and I truly think that it's given us about an hour to an hour and a half extra of sleep every single night since we've had it, simply by rocking our daughter back to sleep before she fully wakes up. So we know our baby is sleeping, but what about us? For mamas out there, you're going to spend so much time napping, hanging out with baby in your glider. So for us, the glider that we decided on was the Nature and Glider Plus. This thing is incredible. It reclines all the way back. You can adjust every single component of it, from the lumbar to the footrest to the headrest. It's super comfortable, it's easy to clean, and it looks beautiful in the nursery. It's really our only option. I really didn't like other products that were out there. Other products that were out there were way more expensive. And so for us, the Nature and has just been such an amazing addition to the nursery. When we had a night nurse, that's really where she would spend all of her time, because we don't have a bed in the nursery. And so our night nurse would sit reclined all the way back and was perfectly comfortable every single night. One of the weirdest things about becoming a new mom is learning how to swaddle, because you think that you're like trapping your baby in a blanket or a swaddle and they're going to be uncomfortable, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Swaddling is an amazing tool for helping baby to sleep comfortably and safely. The swaddle that I recommend is the Happiest Baby Swaddle. It's super easy to use. You don't have to worry about folding a bunch of different components. It actually zips right up, and again, it converts into a sleep sack. So at 4 months, when you're supposed to stop swaddling cold turkey, or for some babies even sooner if they've already started rolling over at 3.5 months, this actually turns into a sleep sack simply by unbuttoning the sides. I love this swaddle for its ease of use, its comfort on baby, and the fact that it converts into a sleep sack. Okay, now let me de-influence you on a few things. I know people swear by the Hatch machine. I have 2 of them and I never use them. These are really expensive night lights, basically, that if you have all of the other products that I've mentioned, you just won't need. So the Hatch, it's a night light, but so is the Nanit, so is the Cradlewise, so is my diaper warmer at night. So chances are you probably won't need a night light. It's also a sound machine, but so is the Cradlewise, and you can also just get a regular speaker, or like my little portable sound machines that I use for my diaper bag are also excellent. So you don't really need like a whole other machine that is a sound machine. I just don't really find much use out of the Hatch, and so I'd rather put that money towards like the Love Every Play Gym or upgrading something else in my nursery. I just don't find it super helpful. So de-influencing you from the Hatch. One other pro tip about sleep is that we have an iPad that controls pretty much the entire nursery. And every single night we use a Bose speaker coupled with a playlist on Apple Music. I will link to the playlist below, but we basically just loop it the entire night, and our daughter sleeps so peacefully with that. You can connect it to the Cradlewise as well, but I just don't use Spotify, which is the application that the Cradlewise uses. So for us, we're an Apple family, and we just use a regular speaker for her, and we blast it pretty high at night. So I will link that playlist below. All right, you've made it to the end of the video. I truly hope that you gained value from this video. My goal is to save you time if I can't save you money. And so I'm gonna give you all of the products that I found most efficient in the first 4 months and that were most comfortable for baby. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I really want to know, did you buy any of these products? Looking forward to reading all the comments, and I'll see you soon.